A lot of action today in U.S. markets. So let's talk about it. Let's try to get an understanding of what actually happened and why did the market open up over 500 points down today. Well, if you know anything about the market, you understand that semiconductors, which are chips, that power like AI, power computers, power pretty much anything like refrigerators, TVs, and all that. They all run off of chips. And the largest company in the world, which is actually the biggest chip maker, is NVIDIA. So you probably know that we consider the Chinese as a direct competitor to the United States. And what ended up happening is China basically released an AI learning platform called DeepSeek, which is similar to ChatGPT. If you're familiar with ChatGPT, you know that basically you can have it answer emails for you, answer any kind of questions you want, write papers for you, essays, any kind of question that you have. Pretty much ChatGPT can answer that for you. So China released their own version of ChatGPT entitled DeepSeek. Now, why is that a big deal? Well, ChatGPT and all of these AI learning platforms need chips to actually process the power, which we call compute. All these platforms run off compute. So think of that as like battery power, right? And these NVIDIA chips are what provide the compute. They provide the battery power to these learning modules like ChatGPT and DeepSeek. But with DeepSeek dropping, they actually dropped as what is called an open source code. Okay. So let me explain open source to you. Open source is basically saying the instructions for this are available for everybody to see. So if you're like a child and you build a Lego set, right? If you basically wrote down step by step how you put this Lego project together, that would be open source code. Now, something that runs on open source does not need as much compute because typically something that's open source is already using the platform that is using the compute. So it's not really needing any additional power. And anybody can come in and look at the open source and improve on it, right? So think about when Mark Zuckerberg dropped the Threads app, right? It came out of nowhere. It came fast because basically what he did was use a bunch of the source code that was open source code that was already inside of Instagram, right? And along with that, along with Twitter, when Elon Musk took over Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it, that is also partially open source. So you can look in it, see what needs to be done, and create a copy, an imitation, or even something better because you can add onto it and make it more efficient very, very fast without needing a lot of compute. So the reason that the market tanked is because now the market's forward thinking. So they're thinking, oh, NVIDIA is not going to sell as many chips because if all these companies can just create open source AI learning models, there won't be as much need for compute, as much need for power. Therefore, all these companies are taking a big hit because they're thinking NVIDIA is probably going to have to guide down on their next earnings call. And then also look at all the energy companies that over the past week that have shot through the roof. Stuff like stocks like SMR, New Scale. Now those tickers are taking huge hits because the market's thinking, hey, you know what? We priced in all this energy that we thought was going to be needed, and now that energy may not be needed anymore. So it's going to take some time for all of this to figure itself out, but it's potentially can be a huge hit to the United States and all of the major players like your Metas, your Amazons, your Nvidias, your Apples, and all these companies that rely on this compute that's needed. So we'll just have to see. But I hope that kind of makes sense for you all to kind of understand what happened with the market today. And like I said, we'll see what happens going forward. But you can look at it as a buying opportunity, or you can be a little bit more patient and see how low this market goes before it heads back up. But I hope that makes sense for you. It's your boy Trey from Digital Dollars, digitaldollarstrading.com. Peace.